Boom, we are back. And now we're going to talk about some other Reaktor instruments besides the Reaktor blocks. We're also going to talk about making drums and beat loops and stuff in Reaktor, or at least how to sample from Reaktor. So that's what you got in store for you for this last hour or so. So we've been making sequencers and stuff. I'm going to turn that one off. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to delete the sequencer one. Actually, I don't want that at all. Okay, so we got this, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull another Reaktor in here. Boop-a-doop. And let's go over here to Reaktor Play. That's this one here on the left. So Reaktor Play, I said, I click on Reaktor Play. Oh. Reaktor Play likes to take its time to open up. And we're going to start off with apparently form right now. And all right, so let me just show you some of this. Let's go over my desktop. There we go. Alrighty then. Over on the left-hand side of the Reaktor screen, we have all these instruments and things over here. So we got the blocks and stuff like that, but then you've got flesh and form, contour. Now, a couple things of what we're looking at here. One, if you see over here where it says player and you see a folder that has a plus sign, if you open up that plus sign, you're going to see more things inside of that folder. If you just click on the folder, if you click on the name, down here you're going to see what's inside the folder. And if it has a plus sign, like I said, you can open up and there's more folders inside. And if you click on the folders, then you're going to see stuff down here in this section, or if it's got a plus, you're going to see that it has more stuff inside of it. So a lot of that stuff, like if it says documentation, that's just boring stuff. It might have the manual, which is not boring. That's very useful. So you've got that there. That's how this all works. So first we're going to start with, let's start with one we've already looked at here. Let's start with Monarch. And I think Monarch comes with complete now. I'm actually not sure. I bought it a long time ago, Razor and Monarch. I'm not sure if it comes with complete yet or not. But it's a bit older. It's been around for a while. And it's just analog synth. And it's just based on the Minimoog. So that's a basic one right there. Let's look at some other more interesting ones. Let's go over to, let's go to Rounds. Rounds is kind of cool, especially for more EDM-y and more modern sounds, more digital type of sounds. This is Rounds, and it's got some cool stuff. Now, once I've clicked on it and I see it pops up here and I can see my user interface, one thing you're going to notice is all of these are super, super different. None of these look the same. And so if my advice is find one that you like and stick with it for a while, because they're all different and they all have a learning curve. Trying to learn every single thing that comes with Reaktor is going to be not impossible, but tricky. Now, once you've got one open here, what you can do is I can click on this little button up here on the left. See this little button here? Click on that, and now this has my snapshots. And the snapshots are the ones that are like the presets. That's what Reaktor calls presets, or the snapshots. Again, if it has a plus sign, then it's basically a folder you can open up. And inside here, there's a lot of different types of snaps. Like different basses and leads and pads and stuff like that. Rounds is good for soundscapes and stuff. It's also good for bass, but it's so yeah, super, super cool. Rounds is dope. I'm a big fan of Rounds, and there's like all sorts of different presets in here. Now, one of the cool things about the presets is if you click on it, see how it's selected here, you can literally just use your arrow keys to scroll through it. So I'm going to go. Got all sorts of different sounds in here. All sorts of different sounds, so definitely play around with this. You got pad sounds, soundscapes, lead sounds. The arrow keys on the keyboard move it left and right. They move it up and down. They move this part here, in here, up and down, so I can use my arrow keys to go through my presets, not left and right. It has nothing to do with the sound. Well, it has nothing to do with what's happening in the sound. It has to do with the presets. Okay, so if we go in here, bass sounds, there's different bass sounds. So lots of different sounds. If you want to make your own sounds with rounds, you can. Like, you can go in here and edit stuff and make your own sounds, but don't ask me about how to do it because I don't know. I've never made my own sounds with rounds. I just go through and find presets and mess around with the presets. But basically, these letters up here are your oscillators, and you can go in here and turn them on and off, and you can go through and mess around with them. You got analog ones, you got digital ones. You can go in here and change the sounds around. So, but you're gonna have to read the manuals. That's on you. I don't know enough about rounds to actually teach rounds. So then we got, what was it? Form. Form is really cool. You can see when I double click on the form ensemble, it says, this is always gonna pop up too. It's gonna say, hey, you made some changes. Do you wanna save those changes? And most of the time the answer is gonna be no. But if you did wanna save it, then you gotta make sure that you save it. Especially if you're, basically that's for like if you're creating your own sounds. So here's Form. Form is a granular synthesizer. It's really, really dope. Some really cool sounds inside of Form. Let's go to Soundscapes again, because it's great for soundscapes, and we're gonna go to, I don't know, Polarism. Let's try Polarism. So I can go in here and cool, that sounds cool. Let's go to Phantom Box. So what you can see here, what's happening is there's actually a waveform that it's like a sample, and they pulled it in here, and the synth will do different things to that waveform. So this one's just scrolling left and right, back and forth on it, and playing different parts, but different ones do different things. So let's see. That's pretty sick. Cool, let's listen to resonance. Neat sounds. I really like the sounds in Form. Very, very cool. Let's go over here to keys. Sound effects. Cool. There are definitely sound effects. All right, here's, Where's the sound that comes up when you first start? I don't know, actually, where that sound is. If you launch form here, let's go back to this. Let's just launch form. Do not want to save. It actually says the word form. It does some really weird stuff. Pretty cool. Let's change this. Neat. Yes, it is kind of like the granulator plugin for Max for Live. And you can throw your own sounds in there. You can do some really, really cool stuff. It's a very neat synth, and you can use it for sound design stuff. You can use it for like samples, like messing around with samples. You can use it as a synthesizer, all sorts of stuff. So don't neglect it. It's a really neat one, especially once we start talking about samples tomorrow, samples and sampling and stuff like that. Definitely keep it in your brains for that kind of stuff. There we go. All right, next is Prism. Prism's cool. Prism's a good one for like bells and stuff like that. Clicky. Good for bells. Pad sounds. So Prism is basically additive synthesis. And there's probably more to it than that. Anybody from Native Instruments, if you stumble across this video, I apologize if it's more than additive synthesis, but to me it seems mostly additive synthesis. But I love it because I love these bell sounds and things. And it has a nice like organic quality to it. Even though it's electronic, it has a nice organic quality to it. Plucked, we were talking about Plucked the other day. Beautiful. Yay. And you can do all sorts of really neat stuff with this Alien Symphony. Let's see. That's definitely what the symphony sounded like when I went to my Alien Friends concert a few weeks ago. Definitely sounded like that. So that is Prism. Let's see, Spark. Oh, Spark is. I don't think I've played with Spark very much. kind of cool. Not sure why that's called Bangkok, but yeah. Yeah, so that's Spark. I mean, really, if you have Reaktor, you just need to go through these yourself for the most part. Just check them out. Some cool stuff in here. Let's see, what is this one? Have I messed with this one yet? I must have at some point, but there's literally just so much stuff that comes with it, and running all these sounds would need more sample rates. Oh, I have messed with this. I didn't mess with it very much. Running all these sounds would need more sample rates. I mean, I understand your question. It's not exactly the right question. I mean, it is the right question, kind of, but what you would say is a higher sample rate. And the answer is, if you run, it's okay, I understood. I think what you're saying is a higher sample rate. The answer is yes. Yes. It definitely, Reaktor takes up more of your processor power. Basically, the way it works is this. If you're using software synthesizers that generate the sound there on the computer, it's going to use more of your sample rate. It's going to use more of your CPU. So you would need a higher sample rate in theory. If you have a lot more effects on things, if you're running samples but just like a ton of effects, you're going to also need more CPU, a higher sample rate probably. But what I usually do with these is I don't really recommend running a ton of Reaktor instances at the same time. What I would recommend doing is running Reaktor, and then once you've found a sound that you like and you've got it so you like it, bounce it to audio. Keep a version of your track that has the MIDI in there and has the sound, but I would say bounce it to audio so you're not killing your CPU, because especially if you're trying to play these things, if you want to play them with your synth, then you're going to need to basically layer stuff and mess around with it in that way. Let's see. So what this is doing is it's actually changing up these different parts here. You got the harmony, you got the samples, you got the sounds. And I never use this really because it's a cool plugin, but it's a little bit, for me, it's a little bit too much of it's doing it for you. But you could use it for sampling and stuff like that. And here, let's see, Tim Exile stuff. Let's see what this is. I mean, there's some cool sounds. Yeah. Yeah, it'd be cool for sampling from. The only thing you have to think about when you're using something like this, one of the things you have to be aware of is that this has been out for at least a year by this point. And so a lot of people have already used it and probably sampled from it. So you have to be a little bit aware that you're probably using something that's already been picked over. But maybe not. I don't know. I stay away from big beat stuff, and so it might be that people are using it and they're still using it and hasn't gotten old yet, but just be aware of that. Yeah, so Noli, yeah, a lot of possibly a lot of people have already used it because you want to, yeah, and they're playing it all for you. I totally agree. So that's why I've played with it before. I've never used it for anything though. It's also, it's more of like a big beat kind of bass sound, like in the world of like dubstep-y type of stuff, and that's in like EDM, like big EDM, and that's not at all what I make. So, but not to say you couldn't find something cool in here. You probably could find some really cool stuff in here, and I'm probably just being a dummy from not trying it. But yeah, I don't know. I might be a dummy. So let's see, what else? Contour. Did we already look at this one? I don't think so, right? Oh yeah, it's another one. I don't remember what the best part of this was, why this one was so cool. I mean, it looks like the other ones we played with, but there's something different about it, but I'm not sure. But what I want to do is I want to move on away from these player things, and I want to show you in here the, where is it, the library, Reaktor, factory, there we go, okay. So, the Reaktor factory library, over here, let's zoom in so you can see it. This is a folder you're going to want to dive into. So it used to be Reaktor. I've been using Reaktor since like, I don't know, version 2 or something like that. A long time I've been using Reaktor. And it used to be that when you got Reaktor, what you were presented with was a big blank screen. It looked something like, let's see, file, new ensemble, boop, don't save. Like it used to be that when you opened Reaktor, it looked like this, and you had to go in and edit Reaktor, and you had to make your own sounds and kind of play with things and connect things up. It was tricky to use at first, but it was nerdy enough, and there's enough nerds in the world that people started making a lot of cool things with it pretty quickly. So you would download Reaktor, you'd get Reaktor, it probably wasn't a download at the time, and then yours open like this, you dislike it. I could see why you would dislike it. I would not like it to open like this. You can maybe, well, let's come back to it and see if we can fix that at some point. But basically, if it opens like this, you have to know where to go. And at one point, it didn't really come with a lot of cool sounds. You had to go find them online. At some point, what they did was they took the coolest sounds, the sounds that everybody liked, and the sounds that that had been online for free for a long time, and they packaged them with Reaktor. So when you open the box and you install it, these sounds would automatically be installed onto your computer. So let's go ahead and take a look at what those are. And those became the factory library. You could find these lines, a lot of these sounds like online, and they didn't come with Reaktor. They were just like famous ones that people had made. And they're super, super cool. So let's start with the synthesizers. And again, these are ones that they're all going to look different and sound different. One of my favorites is Steam Pipe or Steam Pipe 2. Either one is fine. You've got an A and a B section here. You can mess with A and a B. The A is the synth itself, and the B is the reverb. So this is really cool. This one is physical modeling. Physical modeling is a type of synthesis that uses code and math to recreate physics, like the sound of air, or the sound of a string being played, or plucked, or brass, stuff like this. And Steam Pipe focuses on more plucked sounds and air sounds. So let's go ahead and, once I've loaded up my synth, just like with the other ones, you can click on this one here and get to the embedded sounds. Let's go ahead and play with this. Sounds pretty cool, right? pretty neat stuff, I think. So, yeah, this one's dope. And this is the type of sound that's like, if you play it correctly or you just use it for sound effects and stuff, nobody would really know that it's not like a real pipe sound. Yeah, totally. It's totally got that like Ridley Scott sci-fi vibe type of thing. I'm a big fan. I think it sounds super cool. So that's steam pipe. There's other sounds in here too, like not just the pipe sound, but like bells. Very organic, and that's pretty cool. Not great for EDM or like even hip hop, but really good for film score stuff, TV and film, stuff like that. Super good for that kind of stuff. So that's that. Let's go ahead and take a look at laser bass. Laser bass is a good one. Basically, I recommend you just kind of go through all this stuff and just mess around with them. Really good for EDM and stuff like that, basically. Pretty neat stuff. This one is, I'm pretty sure this is an additive synth, is how this makes it sounds. So that's cool. Oki computer. Cool sound. Right, so you can, basically what I'm just trying to show you is the variety of synths that are in here. Not, I mean, these are just the ones that I know pretty well, and I like playing with them. Gear, this one's a weird one. Let's take a look at this screen here. Oh, yeah, weird. Also looks really weird. I have no idea what I'm looking at here. It's just weird. I like it. I think it's cool. But it's very, very strange. I'm going to hit this edit button. If you have the full version of Reaktor, when you're looking at a little tiny window like that, you can actually open it up by hitting the edit window here, the edit button, and it'll open the window up so you can see things better. Stuff. Cool for sampling though. Super weird. Those are the ones I want to show you in here. The synths I want to show you in here. Now let's go over here and check out, go up here and we're going to check out the, we're going to check out the groove boxes here. Now the groove boxes are like synths that makes like sequence type of sounds. And there's a few in here. The one that I know the best is Sine Beats. I've actually made a few tracks with Sine Beats. I like Sine Beats quite a bit. It's very old. It's one that's been around for a while. I'm going to go in here. And this is running in time. Now with this one here, and so just to show you the complexity of this stuff, this has a whole bunch of things built into it. So you can see here we have a tabs for the different, there's 4 different like noise makers in here. And so we got noise, we got sine 1, sine 2, and sine 3. And then there's a mixer over here for noise, sine 1, sine 2, and sine 3. And you can mix these, you can turn them on and off and stuff. So for example, what I usually do with this is I'll go and mute them. And there's my sine 3. Sorry, I meant to mute them. There we go. Cool. Now I can go in here. And what I would do is I would just record this over. So grab the audio from the Reaktor 6. And hit this. Let's grab it from post to make sure. Cool. Now while that's recording, what I'll do is I'll go in here and mess around with stuff and just tweak these things. Check on that. Mess around with this stuff. These. I can go back over here to this. So you can try that, maybe record some other ones. Check out sine 1, see what it's doing. Sine noise. Okay, this one's pretty cool, it's just noise stuff. triggers in. Nice. And maybe take off the effects, because you can always put your own effects on later on. Like this. And you see this mod is how much, when you mess with this mod here, how much is actually changing things. Right? So that's what we're looking at here, the sequencer here. And now, let's go ahead and stop this from playing. And over here, grab the parts that we want. There we go. Cool. Mess around with that, and then layer on something on top of that. And you can sit here and mess around with this for as long as you want or whatever, and find some really cool sounds to sample out of there, which is what I've done and what I like to do. Oh, Kelvin Tejada. Cool. Thanks, Kelvin. Sweet. All right. Let's go in here. Let's open up Reaktor again. Go over here. Let's grab. Let's see what aerobic sounds like. Go ahead and. Cool. This looks like it's made by the same person. Same team. Nice. So you could use this for stuff as well. Go ahead and grab some presets. Is go down here and mess with the mutes and just solo these out. Cool. Yeah, neat. You can see how it's messing with the frequency here. And we'll mess around with some of that stuff like tomorrow when we start working with samples and things like that. Tomorrow, the next days, this week, we'll start working with samples and things. So you got those, and these are all your groove boxes and stuff. Sequenced synthesizers is pretty much what they sound like. It's sequence, synthesizers that are sequences based on sequencing. So you hold a key or whatever. Kind of like what we built in Reaktor blocks before, except probably more complex than what I built, obviously. In here, right? And basically, again, you'd want to sample this stuff. That's what I would use it for, is sampling stuff. Let's see. Samplers. All right. So some other stuff I want to show you here is the samplers. Samplers are actually really, really cool, and you can throw your own sounds into them. So for example, here is Travelizer. Travelizer is one of my favorites. It's super, super basic. And what I do with my Travelizer, I used to, before my computer crashed, I used to have a basic Travelizer thing. I don't think it's in here. No. But basically what this was my preset for Travelizer. So here's Travelizer. Let me just go ahead and play Travelizer. This one you need a keyboard. Well, I'm going to wait for the cops to go by. All right. So we got this. Okay. I'm just going to go over here to this one. Simple. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and make this. Yeah, the sampler sounds like sirens. What? Okay, so I'm going to go over here and turn down my filter and delay. Just make that back to 0. I'm going to make it so the pitch and the position don't move at all, and the stuff here doesn't move. Should be. Cool. So yeah, so that's that. So you can take it and you can scan through your sample. It's like a basic version of Form, but the reason why I like this one so much is because it is very, very basic. It's not too fancy. It doesn't sound like as much like an instrument. It just lets you to mess with samples, and it's a really good one for messing with samples. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign these knobs on my keyboard to this. So here, go down here. Oops. And go into Reaktor, configure, and I'm just going to move this here. And yeah, you can add your own samples and mess with them, yes. And I'm going to go ahead and assign this to some knobs over here. There we go. So now, pretty cool stuff. So you can see that's pretty cool stuff. Pretty neat to mess around with that. Let's see, what else have we got in here? Oh, and then grain states. Grain states is also a really cool one. This is another really, really old one that I've always been a big fan of. go ahead and look at some of the presets in here. So this stuff sounds pretty cool, but again, it sounds like they sound kind of similar. So you would want to use it sparingly on some certain things. Again, it's very, very old. It's been around for forever, but you can put your own samples in here. And what we're looking at here is kind of like a granular synthesis sequencer, where what it does is it moves around the sample based on these boxes. So it moves around the sample based on these boxes here, and different boxes move to different places, and you hit go, and it moves. So you can see it's moving through to different positions, 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is probably your number of steps, so if I turn this up, it'll go all the way to 8. Oh no, that's where it starts. Oh no, yeah, that's how many steps it does. 8 steps. So pretty neat stuff. This one, again, you can do some really cool things with it. Let me see. This is the YouTube channel you post the videos on called. It's Make Beats New York. But let's see. This is it. Make beats New York, make beats New York, make beats New York. Do 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 do. There we go. This one. Make sure you subscribe. There you go. Boop. So, what was I going to say? I was going to say that, let's see if I can actually play some song for you through here. Let's see if I can do this. If I change my sound to Soundflower 2 channel. I'm a little bit scared of creating a feedback loop, honestly. I'll figure this out, actually, not right now. Because I want to play some sounds for you where I use some of those, some songs, old songs from like 10 years ago, more, like 15 years ago, where I actually use some of these instruments to mess with the sounds and stuff like that. They're really beautiful, but it gives you an idea of what you can actually do with them, which is pretty neat stuff. And for now, I think we're just about at the end of things. It's a lot. There's a lot to digest today. A lot to digest today. I want to figure out who has what in this class. And we didn't do that last week. I want to do it this week. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a assignment for you just to write into me what you're working on. If you're just working on the iPad, or if you're working with a computer, if you have Reaktor, if you don't have Reaktor, stuff like that. Yeah, I'm gonna have that, and I'm gonna make a spreadsheet that has all that information, so that, because one of the teachers, they're doing something kind of cool, and I'd like to do something similar. Is I'd like to see who can actually, like, what we should do, since we're all locked in our homes and our studios or whatever, is we should see about. Great, RJ. I'm glad you like it. We should see about maybe working on a song together, and maybe some like groups of people working together because we're going to be here for a few weeks. So let's work on some music together. And some people have the ability to record vocals and record some stuff with microphones, and some people, all they've got is their iPad. I have an iPad, and I love using my iPad. And what I can do is I can just shove this out of the way and bring my iPad over here. Wait, did I break something? Oh, I don't know what I did. Open the display app on here. I have it open. What's wrong? I don't understand. Well, whatever. Here, can you still see me? You can still see me, right? I can't see the chat group anymore, though. Where's the chat window? There you are. Boop. Okay, so let's see. Let me move this to the keyboard. There we go. So we can see this, and I'm gonna go ahead and turn this off here. 22%. Oh, something weird is going on with my power. So anyway, so I've got this, and what I could do is I can actually show you, and I'll get this set up. Maybe not tomorrow. It's not a thing that I need to worry about for tomorrow or this week because we're going to do a lot of sampling and stuff. But in here, I have a whole bunch of beat making apps and things like that we could mess around with, and some of them are even free. So so we could go in here, and I can show you some cool things that you could get. For example, this one here. If I hit play, sounds great, right? Is it not? Where are you not playing? Empty. No samples. User. Ethnic Tony. Not sure why we're not playing. Cool. There we go. Yeah. So you can see there's I know you can't hear very well, but I'll figure that out. I'll get it going into my audio interface or something. And then there's some really cool apps that you can get for the iPad, and we can talk about some of this stuff. If I move my mic over closer. So, yeah, some neat stuff. So we can talk about some of that one day as well. So we got some time, and so basically what I want to do is I want to show you all some ways that you can make music, even and work on music even when you're at home. There's also for the iPad, of course, you probably know about. Where is it? GarageBand. And GarageBand, you can work on mixing and stuff. You can do some really cool stuff in GarageBand. Yep, we're not going to listen to that. So, yeah. So you can do some neat stuff with it. So even if you're not, if you're not somebody who has like a computer at home, you at least have the iPad. And I think we can get something going with it, because I think it'd be a cool idea to get like a group project going on and get people, get maybe several group projects going on and get people working on stuff. So I'm going to set up a spreadsheet, maybe a Google Docs, and I'll either open it up to you or I'll just, get your name and instruments and like what you play, what you have access to at home, stuff like that. Maybe I'll make I'll make a questionnaire. Ooh, how about that? I can make a questionnaire. Yeah, I like that. It appeals to the nerd in me. All right. Actually, yeah. What do you say about finishing up now? Is that cool? Anybody have any problems with that? We've covered everything we need to cover today. Anybody have anything to add or any questions or anything like that? RJ says sure. Other people? Because that'll give me some time. I can go and, okay, cool. All right, yeah, because I can go and work on this and get this questionnaire open for y'all so you can mess around with that. And you can give me some info. I think that's a good idea. Cool. All right, so for those of you who are here, I'm gonna put a message up in John Sickett's class about that we're doing the class, that I'm basically doing the class with y'all right for the time being. And if you could let the other students know, if y'all are in touch with the students who aren't here, let them know that you are doing the class with me for the time being. And the link is on Twitch TV. Make twitch.tv/makebeatsnewyork, and spread that love around so we have some more people in here over the next week. This week we are here Monday through Thursday, not on Friday, but on Friday it depends on how busy I am. I've got some other stuff I've got going on right now that I need to be finished up with by Friday. But Friday I might do another online thing. So, but not for SAE, just a basic online thing for myself, for people. Anyway, thank you very much, and I will see y'all tomorrow. All right? Cool? Yes. Thanks. Have a good night, everybody. Keep calm and carry on. Cool. Bye.